We will this evening have some possibilities to look back in the history in the old times. You will hear more from our colleagues which were here at that time, how it was when this organization was established. We had decided to use this day to look also in the future because we think we are again at a turning point probably in the globe's history.
The recent stimulus packages that many governments launched in response to the financial crisis were a green test. Between 20 and 25% of the Norwegian stimulus packages presented in January this year is allocated to green purposes. And this is among the highest level in Europe. For example, we will spend substantial amounts of extra money on improving energy efficiency in existing buildings, on railroads, on climate research, windmills at sea, footpath and bike lanes, and on maintenance of protected areas and our cultural heritage.
Has not created any resilience in that system. So we are destroying the resilience in those areas. So I thought that this is an example of how nice graphics, how nice way of presenting problems is a key thing for understanding the problems. I also wanted to try to link biodiversity and climate change. We were asked about, was climate change the real issue? And I think that it is all too narrow. And I also have a fear that focusing only on climate change will take away some attention of some of the threats that are having an immediate effect. So we have to see it in context. Biodiversity and climate change, you have interactions both ways.
In the 1970s, I was in charge of the forest area in Ghana, Western Ghana, as National Parks Director in this area. And what you see on the right-hand side was the old forestry map, survey map of the British colonial rule, which showed all the forest reserves in green in this area. That was the best map we had at that time. And those forest areas were forest areas within a contiguous forest block. Two of them were national parks, which I managed at that time, but I was also in charge of controlling timber exploitation in these areas. Now, if you look at this was the area, by the way, that produced, it was called high forest, this tropical rainforest, some of the most impressive diameters of trees. This is Makore, a red timber, like the Kaya species and the Entandophragma species, very abundant in those areas.
Resource efficiency, climate change, and sustainable consumption and production are becoming, I would say, my daily concerns. And I believe that they are also becoming daily concerns of governments and public institutions, the private and the business sector, research and consumers. And it's important to note here the role of the private and the business. More than we believe, they are really interested in that. They are ready for the change, that they're waiting for the market conditions and for the government incentives to move on. It's from experience with them. And the way we have been thinking over the last 30 years, it follows this process of production. In the beginning, we're just looking at the production and the pollution. And then we consider the product, what is the composition of the product, from where is coming the product, what is the system around the product, the supply chain, the life cycle approach. Then we realized it's important to go to innovation in order to find solutions. And we ended up by closing the loop by the consumption.
And I think they learned from that the lesson that they cannot, great initiatives on the economic side have risks. The Green New Deal has already, the new deals that are in the pipeline are already showing a sign of deferral. In other words, the money is being spent later and not now. So there is a sign of execution risk, but I hope that as we negotiate and discuss with governments, we can address that. Of what we went through 7 years of plenty, of easy money, of too much credit, of expanded production, expanded consumption, expanded volume, not enough quality, not enough focus to risk. And after that huge mountain of financial debt that we took, we had the financial collapse. we've gone through a period of taking ecological debt. The definition of green economy that we use is our ecological footprint on the one hand and risk on the other, ecological risk on the other, including climate risk. We've got a footprint now which is hugely indebted at 35 to 40% higher than the Earth's biocapacity. God forbid that we have to face in the natural world the kind of collapse that we face in the financial world, because that's one kind of collapse which we bankers will not be able to help you manage.